Hey everybody, Rob with WePayOffDebt.ca. Hope you're doing well. Coming at you today to address the question, how much should I be saving? I see this question all over social media. So many people are feeling insecure, especially Christians, feeling insecure that they're not doing what they should be with their money. So I want to answer that question today. Depending on where you're at, how much should you be saving? Now, before I get into that, make sure, shoot me a text, 204-8136-133, special community number that I've got here for my tribe, for everybody watching these videos. If you do that and you see it, send the word savings to that word. I'm going to send you back a PDF that has a summary of what you're going to hear today. Okay, so definitely shoot me a message there, 204-8136-133 with the word savings, and I will shoot back to you a PDF summarizing everything that's in this video. So with that, let's jump into it. So first step is, if you have no savings at this point, if you have no emergency fund that is outside retirement, if you have no money that you can get to in the event of emergency, you need an emergency fund. So that's your first thing. How much should I be saving? You should be saving $1,000. $1,000, that's all to start. You need $1,000 in a starter baby emergency fund. If you have no money you can get to right now, that's not in a retirement fund, that's not in it's not locked in somewhere, you need $1,000 set aside, put it in its own account, put it somewhere where you're not going to spend it on anything except emergencies. Okay, that's step one. Step two, if after that you have any debt whatsoever, any consumer debt, now non-mortgage debt we're talking about at this point, but even a massive student loan would count here, a car debt, any kind of debt whatsoever, the answer to how much should I be saving right now is zero. You need to get out of debt. So with that $1,000 emergency fund that you got started there, you need to throw everything else, every other penny you can pull out of your budget, you need to throw it at the debt and get the debt gone. Debt is your enemy. It is stealing your money every single month. Get it gone, and then you can move on to the next step, and that is step three. If you have no more consumer debt, you maybe have a mortgage still, but all your student loans are gone, all your car loans are gone, your personal loans, lines of credit, everything's down to zero. If those are gone, the next step is now you need a fully funded emergency fund, because we don't want you going back into debt. Okay, so how much should I save? 3 to 6 months of your expenses. So what does that mean? Take a look at your budget. Take a look at what you're actually spending on a monthly basis. How much would it take to actually run your household in the event of an emergency? Okay, so in other words, you shut down everything because you're not going on vacation. You're not putting away for your kids' college fund while you're in an emergency, right? So if you lost your job today, or something like your income suddenly went to zero today, what would you actually be spending on in the next month? Okay, so just the minimum to keep your house running. Take that number and multiply by somewhere between 3 and 6, depending on how firm your job is, depending on how risk averse you are, these kind of things. If you're really scared about having, you want money around, go for 6 months. If you feel really secure, if your job's really solid, you don't see this as a real possibility of happening, go at least 3 months of that number. So whatever that number is to run your household, multiply by 3 or multiply by 6 or somewhere in between. That's how much you should be saving if you're in step 3. Okay. Next up, step 4, you actually have that done now. You've got that fully funded emergency fund. What do you do now? Now you should be, how much should you be saving right now? 15% of your income into retirement. Okay. So you are going to retire regardless of what else happens. Oh, I'm sorry, I missed something. If you are, if you don't have a house yet, then we'll take a little break there first. If you actually don't have a house, so let me start this again. You built the $1,000 starter emergency fund. You then paid off all of your debt. And then you now built up a fully funded emergency fund. Now, and you don't have a house. At that step, to take some time and to save up money for a down payment before you start retirement, not a bad idea at all. Okay? And what this is we're going to build up as much down payment as I possibly can at this point to be able to throw at a down payment on a house. Now you want to aim for probably at least 10% of whatever you're going to buy. The government and the mortgage company will let you get away with less. You want to aim for at least 10. I would actually encourage you even do all the way up to 20% if you can. Sometimes that's not doable when you're doing your first home purchase, and that's okay. But if you can get all the way up to 20%, you can avoid something in Canada called CMHC. CMHC is insurance for the mortgage company in case you default. This is not an insurance that you gain any benefit from, and yet you pay for it. And the way it's done in Canada is it's entirely added to the cost of the house when you buy. And you end up financing it over the entire mortgage. So you end up paying interest on interest on interest of that thing. So if you can get up to 20%, that is awesome. But 10%, okay, especially for a first home, fine. If it's anything more than a first home, definitely, if it's a second home, third home, whatever, make sure you get up to 20%. But so we're taking a small break before we do retirement, maximum 3 years, right? Not more than 3 years, where you're putting every penny you've got into this fund, every extra penny you've got into this fund to build up this massive down payment to be able to buy that home. Okay, so sometimes people call that step 3B, right? Before you start step 4. Okay, so back to step 4. Now you've got the home, you've moved in, you're comfortable, you've got a rhythm of life going, and you have no debt, so you actually have money, right? You're not watching your money go out every month in payments. So the next step is 15% of your income going into retirement. Okay, so this is where you are now taking exactly 15%. So take your entire yearly income, multiply by 0.15, and divide by 12. And that's how much you want to put in on a monthly basis into a retirement fund. Now, I've got other videos, and I'll link some below, but this idea of how do you invest into what and how and all these things, when you're just getting started, at the very least, put that much into a separate bank account. Get started, because you need to get started doing that. That needs to be part of your budget for the rest of your life, as long as the rest of your working life is investing into retirement, because you are going to retire. So putting 15%, no more and no less, into a retirement fund every single month. Okay, how much should I see saving? 15% of your income right there. If on top of that, you've still got more money and you're still asking, how much should I be saving? Am I saving enough? The next step is RESPs for the kids. Okay, if you've got kids, if you don't have kids, then of course this wouldn't apply to you, but if you've got kids, any chance to help them with their kids' college, the Canadian government does some amazing things when it comes to kids' college funding. So an RESP, if you put in, I want to say $208 a month, something like that. If you multiply that out by 12, it comes to $2,500 a year. If you put in $2,500 a year, the government will give you at least $500. In fact, more if your income's lower than a certain threshold. But they'll give you at least $500 for every $2,500 you put in. They'll give you 20% on your money. That's an instant 20% growth on your money. Totally worth it. And in fact, if you're getting started, so say you've got kids who are 10 and 6 like me right now. If you've got kids who are 10 and 6 and you've never done this before, well, then you've actually got years you can catch up on. So make it your goal to actually not do 208 per month per kid, but $416 per month per kid. Okay, so how much should you be saving? That $416 per month per kid can be going into an RESP and get instant 20% growth from the government on that to go to college. So that would be your step 5, is to actually start building that kid's college fund, and you can get a lot up to that point before you hit that max. Like I said, if you got 3 kids, that's a lot of money, and especially if you're catching up from previous years. Okay, so that's a lot of money you can save. Okay, and all of it's valuable because you're getting money instantly back from the government from that. And if the kids end up not going to school, you can move it to a sibling. If they end up worst case scenario, that they don't go to school, you have no one to transfer it to, and it's not going to happen for years and years, because there's actually a very, very long time limit on these. You can actually use them way later. If it really came down to it, you can actually give back the grant money, give back the money the government gave you, and all the rest can go into your RRSP. Okay, so there's really not much downside. It is your money the whole way up. It just it becomes allowed to be taxed at the kid's rate if they take it out for school. Okay, so got some great videos about that. I'll put those down below if you want to see that as well. But in general, if you've got older kids and you've never done this before, $416 per month per child. Okay, you can actually get all the way up to that to really start banking on some of this money from the government for that. Okay, that's step 5. Step 6 is pay off the house. So if after all this, you still ask the question, how much should I be saving, Rob? Maybe I don't have any kids, or I'm already maxing out my kids' RESPs. How much should I be saving? At that point, the answer is no more. The answer is no more. You should be putting it now onto the house. Now, of course, this is outside of things like, I need to get a new car. Okay, well, if that's something like that's coming up, you figure out how much you want to spend. You start putting that much away to start saving for that money. But beyond the expenses you've got and beyond the savings that you've already been doing up to this point, the next goal we have is to get that house paid off as soon as possible. Okay, so this is now where we're in step 6. We're throwing everything extra we've got at the mortgage to be able to get that done really, really fast. Okay, because once that mortgage is done, now you're in step 7, and the answer is, how much should I be saving? As much as you can to keep the government's hands off it. Okay, at that point, now we're in baby step 7. We're in the stage where I've got money available to me. I don't have a house payment anymore. I'm already getting all the match I can on the RESPs. How much should I be saving now? Well, certainly at least the 15%, but I would even max out at that point. Max out our RSPs. Take once you've filled up your TFSA room, then move on to your RSP room, and once you've filled up those, hopefully that's above your 15% at that point. If you make a lot of money, it might not be, but at that point you've got a lot invested. And now on top of that, you want to start asking, how much do I save at that point? You want to start asking, what percentage am I going to do? So you and your family, you would decide this as a family, because there's only 3 things you can do with money. You can spend it, you can save it, or you can give it away. And you should be doing all 3. And so once you've hit that level of house is paid off, we have extra money every single month, what do we do with it? Whatever that money is, I would choose some percentages together. You and your spouse choose some percentages together about what percentage are we going to put to each, to spending, to saving, to giving. Maybe you're going to do a third each, 33% each. You're 33% to your spending, 33% to giving, 33% to saving. That'd be incredible. Think about a massive giving you could do during that, right? Unbelievable. Some people will do, maybe 50% spending, 25 giving, 25 saving. Sure, and I guess the saving at that point, if you've already maxed out TFSAs and RSPs, it will be just straight into some sort. Obviously, find the best way to invest to avoid taxes, but it might just be a normal brokerage account or something like this. But whatever you can do to avoid paying taxes on it, of course, is important at that point. But the point is that you choose some percentages, and then you can feel completely guilt-free about spending the extra money you have. You can feel completely guilt-free about giving the money you have, because you know you're already saving a ton, and you're already saving towards retirement, you're saving, maxing out towards your kids' college, and you're in a great place. And even on that, top of that, the excess, you're putting money into savings for future issues as well. So hopefully that gives you some value today around the question, how much should I be saving? Okay, again, shoot me a text, 204-81-36-133, and I'll send you a PDF summarizing these points. Thanks so much. Have a good one. We'll talk to you again.